All right. Welcome, everybody, to the first ever Ted and Mike Tech Talk, where our goal is to demystify some of the Microsoft recent announcements so you take advantage of their vision and show your value and help present better tech to you today. And I'm going to be Ted Brown. I'm the Director of IT Architecture here at Ntiva, and we also are fortunate enough to have Mike Davies on this webinar as well.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ted. I'm really excited. So I'm Mike Davies. I am from SureWeb, and I am the subject matter expert for everything Microsoft 365, cybersecurity, and Copilot, which is what we're going to be talking about here today. We're excited to talk about a little Copilot chat and some of the recent announcements around that, right, Ted?
We have three big ones we want to talk about, and I am sorry to steal your thunder, Mike. We played a little bit of rock, paper, scissors, see who goes first, and I won this one. And I think this is one of the biggest announcements that's come out since the, was it 2 years ago when Microsoft announced that 365 Copilot was coming out randomly on a random day in January. This one I feel is going to be huge, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you probably already have a license to take advantage of this today, and it costs you nothing extra. So the big announcement came out, I think it was what, September 15th, was that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Just came out last month.
September 15th, they announced that the Microsoft Copilot Chat, which again is free for everybody if you have a Microsoft license, allows you to use Copilot with your Office applications. And some might say, hey, this is only in the web applications. No, this is going to be available for you in your web applications as well as in your installed applications. Some of my favorite features that I use on a daily basis with the paid edition of the $30 is now included for free. I'm really blown away by this.
Yeah, it's going to be a tremendous amount of value that everybody's going to get from it. It's great to see them bringing some of those paid features down to the users that don't have a Copilot license. It's going to be exciting. Everybody's going to have access to the superpower that is Copilot.
So what we want to do is we want to show you some of this stuff in action, actually prove to you why this is so valuable. So again, highlighting this, this is your Copilot that you have advantage to you to utilize to talk with a large language model in your Microsoft ecosystem today. Now, I'm going to jump right in. So I'm in my test bot right here, my test tenant for Microsoft 365, and you can utilize Copilot Chat. So if you're not familiar with it, let me just go through it real quick. You can open up a browser, go to copilot.microsoft.com. It will prompt you to use your work account. You'll log in and it will present you, hello, ready to go. And here's your Copilot chat. So this is where you'd utilize something you might be doing today with ChatGPT or Claude. Hey, what's the history of hockey? Whatever you want to find out to kind of show all this amazing stuff about the best sport in the world. But that's not what we're going to get into. We're going to do some stuff with business. Now, the key piece here, this button up here, data is protected by enterprise grade data protection. So it means anything you're putting here is not shared with anybody else in the world, protected behind their badge of data protection, which is great.
Yeah,
So
that's going to be one of the big differences between Copilot and another free service that you might utilize. You mentioned a couple of them, ChatGPT or Claude. You're going to know and have the assurance that whatever you put in there is not leaving the Microsoft world. Nobody else is going to be able to access it, which is great.
And that's a very good point because this is key for organizations that are really concerned about data privacy and
Yeah.
protection. I'm sure there's people in your organization that might be utilizing a free version of ChatGPT out there, asking questions against your company's data, and now that potentially could be out there in the wild.
Yeah.
Anything done here, again, free license is available to use against a large language model, and it's protected behind this data privacy, which is great. So now that you're in Copilot right here, what I want to show to you is you can utilize this in applications. So I'm going to go ahead and go into a Word application up here. So this is a Word application. Again, this is no license with Microsoft 365 Copilot, no $30. And there's now a new button that just recently appeared here a couple weeks ago called Copilot. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And this document here is a fake document about the e-bike models. It's about 5 or 4 pages that goes through the product overview, getting some history about it, performance, the price, this, that, the next. So a bunch of data. So something you could have been producing yourself, or maybe it's something important to your business. Now, with this Copilot chat, I can now interact with the document itself, which is sort of impressive. I can say, hey, please summarize this file. And it'll go through and summarize the file. And this is kind of nothing unique by any means. And I think people might have said, hey, I had the Copilot Edge and it had an Edge icon for
Yeah.
Copilot. It could do the same thing. However, the announcement took this a step farther and really blew my mind. So here's all the information that came into that summary right there. And I'm going to do one more thing. Please provide a FAQ. So I'm going to go ahead and it's going to produce an FAQ, and I'm going to be browsing down on this file itself because usually FAQs go to the bottom of the page.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
getting done with this, and the last piece of it, once it gets done, is this plus button. I'm going to hit add to doc, and now I've interacted with this file from a Copilot chat directly to this documentation. For me, this is a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, being able to just assess and summarize has been a feature that's been around for the better part of 2, 3 years now. But being able to interact with those documents, put content in there, summarize it, rewrite it is now an extremely powerful tool set that's in the hands of the masses. Anybody can use this now that it's part of the free Copilot Chat license.
Yeah, and these are features I was taking advantage of with the paid version. And we're going to get a little bit into why you still need the paid version at the end. There's some good advantages of it, but
Yeah.
what I feel is going to happen with Microsoft is the Copilot license that people are utilizing today, some of those features are going to come to the free edition like you're seeing right now. Then they're going to throw in extra enhancements that will make it so people that are paying the $30 a month don't want to lose it because it provides even that extra value. But I think with this right here, people can step into Copilot and utilize large language models taking action off of the documentation they're already working on and provide instant value to them today. Now, the other piece I feel is neat, which I'm going to show you this as well, is not only does this work in Word from Word, if I want, I can go, please produce a PowerPoint from this file. And this will take a second, so I'm going to show you a couple different things, but this blew me away as well. I'm going to say, please put a PowerPoint together with this file. Again, something I do all the time with Microsoft 365 Copilot. It's going to produce this from this documentation, give me a link, and I can open up the PowerPoint file. Me blew my mind when that came up.
Yeah, it's a game changer. As part of the paid version that's now accessible in the free one, I used that feature constantly where I was generating PowerPoint presentations from content that already existed within my environment. What a powerful tool set to now have in front of everybody.
And then the other thing, before we go on to other topics, again, I think we could talk about this for at least 30, 40 minutes. The other piece that I always love, and people are kind of sometimes jealous when they see this in action, is I'm sure everyone out there has been on an email chain that is lengthy. You go, hey, please help me out with this. And you have just pages and pages to read to find out even what the concept, what the output, what they need to do, how they even get to you. And it takes so long to get there. And when Microsoft, that was actually one of the first things I think if I go back to the first video I did about Microsoft was the summarize button. Like it was just, hey, I can't wait to have the summarize button. But now with the Copilot free license, that summarize button is here for you today. So I am in, again, my test account, no extra paid license. And I created actually from AI a pretty nice like lengthy chain email that somebody might get talking about e-bikes. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and click on the summarize button. When I click on summarize, you can see it pops open the Copilot here. It will come up here in a second once it does. Summarize this email, and then it will go ahead and put it into a bullet point, process the summary of what this chain is about, and then I can take action there, saving me time or saving your employees time. This is one of the things that I think is key with this. Now that this is available, people might not know about it, and educating your staff that this is there for them to use. Don't be fearful of it. It's your data protected. No one knows is going to see that this email was put out there to our large language model to take analysis of it. And now you got a summary right there in your hands, making you more efficient on a daily basis.
Yeah, even better than just the summarize button. My most used prompt within Outlook is what is the ask here? What is being asked of me? And then it goes through and actually figures out what I'm being asked, because the number of times you get emails where there's 40 different interactions before you figure out that key detail and what they're actually asking for. Save myself hours just with that feature alone.
That's fantastic. Prompting is key on this. So as I mentioned, Here's the Word document I said, please provide the download. I'm going to go ahead and right click on this, copy this link, and you could download this as well. And I'm going to pop it in here. And we should have a beautiful presentation put together by a large language model, all for free. You can come in here, modify it however you see fit, change the pictures. Yeah, so I think this is something that every single person should start playing with and learn how to utilize it and how can they make themselves more effective on a daily basis. What might work for me, what might work for Mike might not work for you, but I'm sure there's tons of stuff that you could do on a daily basis. Try out the different prompts. Don't be afraid to play with it. The other thing I always want to make sure people are aware is you kind of get stuck in, hey, what do I do with this? Microsoft does provide some good guidance on prompting languages and things along those lines of how should I prompt into this, which I think is very helpful as well. You can always see those in these prompt guidelines right here. View prompts. What are some prompts I can try that might be beneficial for me? And you can even change it to your job type. Hey, if I'm in sales, product management, marketing, it has some specific ones for you to try for yourself.
Yeah, there's a lot of good, impactful prompts that they can get you started with there. And then you're going to find the ones that work best for you that you'll use on a repeat basis once you've tried it out and used it for a little bit.
So I think we've gone through a lot of for me is the most exciting announcement, but there was some very exciting announcement that came out, I think just a month before Microsoft. Which one was that?
Yeah, they've been rolling them out in pretty quick fashion here. And that is the new model that they're using. So they have upgraded the AI model behind the scenes. The interface is the same, but the engine behind it has been upgraded. So you now have that button that with Copilot Chat will show you the GPT-5 or try GPT-5 in your top right corner. Yeah, that one right there that you're showing off. So as you flip that on, you go from one model to the next. This is upgrading your car's engine instantly when you click on that button. Instead of just getting quick research, you're now going to get a much more thoughtful analysis when going through this.
And what was the model that it was using before by standard?
Yeah, so it was the GPT 4.0 model was the standard. If you're using Chat GPT, the free version, you're somewhere in a 3.4 model. They've now moved that up. Even the free version of Copilot is going to be the equivalent to the paid version of ChatGPT now. So you are getting a much better product just by using this, and it's more secure. So there's a lot of great kind of use cases that this unlocks. This new model can reason over multi modes of media, so it can reason over images and text simultaneously to convey and understand the requests better. So if you're asking it to consume a document that has a report in the middle of it and a bar chart, it can understand that and pull out summaries from that rather than just the text.
Is it a slower response or anything along those lines? Anything we should be concerned about slow-wise?
It might take a little bit longer to process it, and it also might come back to you with a question first on that first go around. So it might come back and say, it sounds like you're asking for this. Can you clarify what you're looking for before it produces a result? The old model is just going to go, here you go, here's the answer. And it might not necessarily be 100% of what you were looking for.
And I hope people heard that, because what you're hearing is the GPT-5 model is trying to understand you better instead of just guessing. And I think that we're probably going to do maybe a Ted and Mike talk soon about maybe just prompt engineering. What are the correct ways to write prompts to really get to harness the power of these large language models to bring the information you're looking for correctly to you, so it's not hallucinating, because the hallucinations usually come from guessing. I'm not sure exactly what he's asking for.
Yeah.
And when it asks more questions to get more clarity, you're able to provide more context, so then it can provide you the right output, and that piece is key. But we'll get into that soon. But I think we want to try to show off little differences. Is there want to go ahead and try a new prompt to see if we can see what it looks like side by side?
Yeah, sure. One of the ones that I like exactly, is drafting business cases. So you'll get a pretty standard response, something very fast with the original model. When utilizing the new GPT-5 model, you'll get a much more in-depth and kind of more
Yeah.
tailored, holistic approach
So
to.
same little prompt here. Make sure that GPT-5 is on and
Yeah,
click go. So it does maybe take just a little bit longer, like you said, but it should produce a more broader picture and deeper picture about what's going on. And a
yeah,
great part of this is always I would say, take a look at the follow-up questions when it comes up afterwards, because it will
yeah.
produce you some information afterwards. You can see here in the regular model, it did ask you some questions at the end that you can actually maybe get some further clarification on. And this GPT-5 should happen as well once it comes up. Again, it does take sometimes a little bit of slowness coming through. And of course, with a demo, things always go a little slower.
It's always the way it goes.
And let's see here. Let's do a test. There we go.
Yeah.
And it came right up. So you can see here it produced, I would say, probably a better structured email or response than before.
Yeah, absolutely. And then exactly what you said there at the end. How would you like this data presented? Would you like this as a brief summary or an executive summary? Do you want this as a full 10 to 12 page report, a presentation that you're going to deliver? And that's where it's really going to shine, show you exactly what you're looking for.
This
So,
is really incredible. I feel almost like a car salesman, free, 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 or something like that. I think it's really helpful to hear that this is Microsoft bringing extra value to licenses you're already paying for your organization, for your employees, and this value is here for utilize today, not just in the web version that we're showing you for the Microsoft Office applications in the installed versions as well. So I think this
yeah.
is a very important thing to make sure that the masses hear about this, and it's something I feel like I'm going to be talking about for months on end to make sure every single person is aware of this. Now, the key piece though is why would you still pay for that $30 license? What do you get that you don't get from what we just showed you? Because there's a lot of value there. And I think my
Yeah.
piece is the $30 value comes into what we showed you for free doesn't give you the holistic look of what your organization has. And that comes to the files you have produced as an organization. So this will only work off of the files that you're talking about at that moment in time. So I'm in Word, it can analyze that file in Word, your Excel, it can analyze that file in Excel. But when I use the paid version, I can ask questions that will go through my entire shared directory I have within SharePoint, go through my Teams folders, go through our meetings we talk together. It can bring things to the forefront that I might not be thinking about when I ask to produce stuff. So there's a lot of value where it brings in what's called grounding your organization data to bring the value back to you. And actually, one of the things I was actually talking about this today with my colleagues, I think the feature that I use the most is the search button. The search button in
Yeah.
Copilot can go through everything. I no longer search in Outlook. If I want to find somebody sent me an email 3 years ago, I know it started with something, it had a file, it came from somebody. I can just type that broken English into Copilot and it will find that file for me instantly, no longer searching for hours. That part someone would have to drag for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's good enough to know if it's got recordings and access to it. I remember I was talking to somebody that had a really cool picture in the background, and I remember what the picture was, but I can't remember what the meeting was. Can you find me the recording of that? Because I need to go look at it. Sure, no problem. It'll pull that kind of stuff up.
Yeah.
It's crazy how well it works.
It's a time saver. I mean, if you think
Yeah,
about how much time people search for files, I think that right there brings the value of that $30. But
it,
I'm not here to talk about chat.
silly.
This is one of my favorite things, so I get sidetracked it easily. So I apologize
Yeah,
about that. But I think there's one last thing we want to talk about, and that's a built-in agent to Microsoft Copilot called Researcher. So, Mike,
yeah.
Researcher, what's Researcher mean to you?
Yeah, so there are a couple of different agents, which, for those that don't know what agents are, they are going to be customized, tailored versions of LLMs that act in a specific way. So the researcher agent is going to be one that does deep research that can be both external and internal to your Microsoft tenant. This is part of the paid service, so it will be able to incorporate that kind of holistic view of your organizational data that you have access to and be able to deliver really impactful, in-depth analysis or detail on a particular topic. So if I'm trying to create a business plan, if I'm trying to understand market conditions or understand where a new offering might fit as a sales organization, this is an invaluable tool. I use it on a daily basis to help me talk through Microsoft solutions with partners.
What I like doing, I'm not sure if you do the same thing. We would demo you this for you, but it does take like 5 minutes to go through the whole thing analysis because it's doing a deep understanding, getting the context, everything, going on, find all the information, doing another analysis, what it finds. What I enjoy watching though is how it comes to the conclusion. And I'm going to show you that real quick right here. So I'm in my paid version. The other one you saw was the non-paid version. So you can see here, I now present it with researcher and analyst. I'm going to slide over. You can see here, I don't see those. This is my free version. This is my paid version. So I can see the extra agents that are available to me. So I'm going to click onto history. So it does take a list of all your history you have going on. So we'll have history right here. And so hopefully it will come up and I can show you what this was doing. So I asked a question here. Please act as a world-renowned executive coach and help me present a compelling argument to move to Office 365 from G Suite. Sorry, G Suite. Figured out how to ask it to Microsoft Webinar, so we went that direction. And so you can see here, it did exactly what Mike was talking about, what the GPT-5 is doing. It asked me a couple follow-up questions. Great, you're looking to present a compelling case to make sure I understand your goals, to tailor this argument effectively, answer these questions. And so it asked me these questions, and I did probably what most people might do is say, go ahead. And now from there, it's skipping. But if you wanted to get, hey, this is for the board, or hey, this is for a product manager, you can tailor it to your needs. But for this proof of concept, go ahead, work for me. But what happened here is it went through and produced all this information. And while it runs, it actually has a piece here, which it doesn't show anymore, unfortunately. You can actually watch it run through the context of how it finds everything, because all to the sources. Since this is a paid version, it has the ability to go through your grounded information. So first we'll find out, hey, what does Ntiva know about Microsoft Office 365? What information has been presented to Ted? What meetings might he have talked about where he said Office 365? Is it compelling enough to bring into this research here? So it boils all that together and then presents this great presentation that you can cut and paste, bring it to another argument if you want to, a great presentation, tailor it to your needs. Again, I always highlight this. This is Copilot. This doesn't mean it's the pilot. You need to review this. You need to make sure it's accurate. You can't just go ahead and throw this out there, say, hey, good to go. This really just helps get it going. And one last piece before I kind of get off my soapbox about this is it puts it all together. You can see here, it goes super in depth. This did take about 10 minutes to run, so it's not something you want to put together and just watch it. You can go off and do something else. You can go talk with another Copilot. You can go work on a Word document. You can go summarize the long email that got sent to you. So this all works in the background. But once it gets going, and I think another webinar we'll do in the future is how to utilize pages and loop. What I mean by that is you have the capability of taking this document, you could copy it right here, but you can also hit this edit in pages. When you click edit in pages, it goes into Microsoft Loop, and you can now work on this. And even from here, you can click this button, open in Word. So instantly you can go from a Copilot chat asking this broad question, edit it in pages, and now copy it straight over to Word. And I hit like 3 or 4 buttons. I didn't even lift a finger basically, and it's all there for me to take action, make it unique to Ntiva, and then share it out with everybody.
Yeah, and even in pages, one of the amazing things is that you can have multiple people working with that page. So both people can be creating with AI simultaneously in the same kind of document. So if Ted's done his part and now I need to step in and do my part, I can use the same page. We can use the same kind of instance to go forward. So
that's great. I'm
really
smelling
strong.
it. Smell another Ted and Mike talk on that one. I think that's what that's going to be here.
For sure.
But unfortunately, I think that concludes everything we want to talk about today. I have to say, for the first one, Mike, this has been a true pleasure doing this with you today. You brought a lot of value to what I think is Microsoft's value to producing on the tech side, but making sure that we're doing our job and really screaming from the mountaintop that this is available and people should take action. Let their staff know that this is there, because you know what? If they don't hear it from you, they're hearing it from somebody else and maybe doing it in a way that doesn't actually protect your data. And that's the key piece for this. It's your data,
Yep.
your protection. These are your license you're paying for. And this is a free thing that they take advantage of to enhance their productivity and make sure your data is safe. And that is key.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, Ted. I really appreciate you having me. I'm looking forward to the next one, and I'm sure we'll be doing that again real soon.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. And we'll talk to you guys next month. Talk to you
Bye
later.
now.